Hey everyone, I'm Hava Schultz, and as a 23-year-old making smart decisions but still smiling along the way, I wanted to come on and share my tips for your 20s so that you know what to do to set yourself up for success now and in the future. You're basically a baby when it comes to adulthood, but unlike a real baby who really doesn't have much control over how it starts life, you can make certain choices and use strategies to help you enjoy life now and in the future. The 10 tips I'm about to share will honestly change your life now and probably forever because we are setting the foundation. And I highly recommend that you watch all 10 of these tips because what you're going to find is that they are very interconnected. So excelling at one is going to help you excel at another. I thought about sharing each of these tips in a different spot around my room, but I'm kind of nervous that that's gonna mess up the lighting, so maybe we'll try that strategy in a different video. For now, let's get to... Can you hear her? Cookie. Cookie. All right. Let's get back into it. By the way, before we start, if you happen to notice me glance down a little bit, full disclosure, I have some notes there because like everybody else, I'm human and I do sometimes forget. So this is just to kind of help me stay on track and make sure that I tell you everything there is to be told. The first tip we need to discuss is mindset, and you probably expected me to start with something like financial investing or working out, and we will get there, but the reason we've got to start with mindset is because it is part of everything you do. So it's important to stay positive as much as you can. Don't suppress your emotions if you are feeling bad, but even in bad situations, see if you can ask yourself, what could be good about this? Or maybe for you, it's just remembering that everything happens for some sort of reason, even if we never really find out what it is. Just remember that it could always be worse. I don't really recommend playing too many worse scenarios in your head because it's not really constructive or, again, positive, but if that's what you need to do to shift your perspective, then go ahead, do what you gotta do. Speaking of perspective, I want you to try to remember the big picture, whether it's positive or negative, because it helps keep things in perspective. Again, this is easier said than done, but it is still helpful, and especially in applying other tips. So that's mindset. The next tip I want to discuss with you is to soul search. You need to take some time to discover what really matters to you. True introspection really does take time, and most people simply don't do it. But think about it. If you're gonna have a test in school, you take time to study for it. You need to take time to study yourself. Think about what values rank the highest for you. And this actually can be a little bit hard to figure out, so there are a lot of different activities out there, and I've done several of them over the years to discover what values matter to me. And Psychology Today actually has an article with like 6 different ways you could do it, and so I found that, so I can link that down below for you so that you have some different options of what to do. Another thing you can do is just reflect. When are you the happiest? I'm the happiest when I'm performing and being creative and spending time with my family. What are your favorite activities? I love making videos, I love singing, I love traveling, I love studying how to make my life better. What is that for you? And if you could do anything you wanted and had no limits, what are your biggest dreams? Just if there were no problems, you know, no limitations, not money, not accessibility, nothing like that. If you say that your biggest dream would be to be rich without working, then you're really undervaluing a sense of purpose. So I just kind of want to point that out and just think of it more in terms of what would you do if money was a non-issue? Because you're gonna have to do something or you will feel unfulfilled. We're all like that. Plus, this video is about how to actually achieve those dreams. It's just in this particular situation, we're laying the foundation. So think about it. Once you've gotten through soul searching, it's gonna become pretty apparent as to what you want in life. Then you can use that to set goals to make sure that you achieve it or get it, whatever it is. So many times I've heard of the power of writing your goals down and that it's different than just thinking it. In fact, most recently, I even heard that it's better to handwrite your goals than to even type them. I don't really know why that is, but I think that if all it takes is writing it down, that's a pretty good insurance policy. But in all seriousness, my personal interpretation of this is that it's a physical way of solidifying your commitment. You're taking something from your brain and putting it into your hand and physically turning it into some sort of action right away, which we are physical beings. So I think that just kind of makes it connect to all through your body. Again, personal idea, it's the only thing I've come up with, but write it down. And then I personally set several goals for myself because I want to grow in many categories of my life, right? I don't just want to be successful at one thing. I want to be successful as a person and in my life, and that has many different categories for you too. And so personally, I split them down by financial, career, interpersonal, lifestyle, probably others too that I just can't think of right now. And so you could go ahead and do the same. Just make sure that within those, you also split it down from big goals and small goals, long-term, short-term. Make sure you're clarifying that so that it doesn't get overwhelming, because having goals in all these different areas of your life could be a big ask. So make sure that you break it down. The next tip I'm giving to you is to get organized. Personally, a clean space is a clean mind, and that means I need to get rid of anything I don't need or just really want, because I need to be able to keep it clean. And if there's too much clutter, I can't sustain it. But it's more than just your space. If you're gonna achieve your goals, then you need to have a plan, and a plan starts with organizing, specifically organizing your time. So soul searching should probably have uncovered what your priorities are, and then you can use that information and plug it into a calendar or a planner so that you make sure that you get to the things that truly matter. Sean Cannell, who's one of my favorite YouTube educators, he says, what gets planned gets done. And I really live by that one. The idea of organizing your time definitely bleeds into the idea of time management, so we're going to talk about that as our next step. Time is your most valuable asset. I repeat, time, not money, is your most valuable asset because it is your most limited asset. Money can come and money can go, but time never comes back. When I heard this for the first time, it was a real game changer for me, and I don't really like thinking about it too deep or too often simply because it feels a little bit morbid, because I mean, someday we're all gonna die, but just knowing that makes me value my time so much more, and other people's time more too. And on the contrary, it actually makes me more annoyed when people disrespect my time, but the lesson here is to use your time wisely. There are so many strategies out there for time management, so it's important that you identify some that work well for you. Following what we just discussed about time, it's important that you take time to learn. Of course, ideally, you're gonna be learning about things that help you achieve those dreams that you've hopefully got in mind by this point, or if not, go back and you can think back through it later. But if it is to be rich, like we mentioned earlier, study financial fitness and the strategies of wealthy people. If you want to become a DJ, then research what you need to do to get started, what kind of skills you're gonna need to learn, and try to talk to other DJs about their experience. I don't really want to become a DJ, but it's just a fun example, and I do love music. But it's not just about big dreams. It counts for the small stuff too. So if you wanna learn how to take better pictures on your iPhone, watch a YouTube video on it. You don't have to go into extreme detail on everything you wanna learn, but overall, learning about the things that are gonna make your life better are important, especially learning about things that will make your life work. That comes down to health, fitness, finance, relationships, all that kind of stuff. And this channel, I'm hoping to kind of create an all-encompassing space, especially for people in their 20s, where you can use this as a resource to overall get that stuff all in one. We will see. Definitely subscribe if that's the kind of thing you want. Also, aside from learning traditionally through researching online or reading books, also just observe. Look at other people that you know or in your life, or even, I guess, online maybe, but you don't really have the full story when you're watching something like this. But observe the people that you know and see what they're getting that you like, and what results I mean that they're getting that you like or that you don't like. And if you think that they're really succeeding, try to figure out what is it that's helping them achieve that success so that you can go apply that. Or if they're failing or they're simply not getting the results that you want, try to determine what's their downfall or what's keeping them back from what they want or causing the problems that they're facing. Because the fact is, this is personal philosophy, we are all going to make mistakes. Like, no matter what, we're human. That's what we're like made to do practically. But if you can observe the other ones that you're exposed to, then at least the mistakes you made would have been completely unavoidable. So that's my take on it, and let's move on to the next one. Number 7 is take action. It actually pains me to make this number 7 because it is not number 7 by priority, it's number 7 by logical order of this video. And not taking action is what sabotages most people's success, because inaction literally kills results. because you can't even get them. To take smart action would be, of course, as this video has progressed, start by soul searching, figuring out what you want, set some goals to give you some direction, use organization and time management to make sure that you're going for the right things and doing that efficiently. Then learn what you need to do, and then you need to do it. Just start. Most people don't even try. And I think plenty of people are lazy, but I think there are a whole lot of people who are not lazy, but they fall into a different category. And if you are still watching this video and have struggled to take action, you may fall into fear of judgment. Judgment from others of not being good enough, or maybe judgment from yourself if you struggle with perfectionism because you can't do it the way you want to do it on the first try. And this is coming from someone who has struggled with perfectionism and knowing when to use it as a strength and when it is actually getting in the way and it needs to be set aside. For me, I just started making YouTube videos and I look back at those first videos and they are so rough. There are even a couple that I put on private because I can't. And someday I'm probably gonna look back at this video and think, oh my God, Hava, what were you doing? But for now, I am just going for it and I'm trying and letting go of the perfection and the judgment. And you should go ahead and do that too. And you don't have to make it public like I have. I mean, that may not even be an issue depending on what it is you're going for. Public may not be a thing, but the thing is just do it. Just start, don't worry about things. And the sentiment that I heard last year that really helped me was baby steps are still steps. Sometimes it's those small, simple actions that help gradually lead us up to more intimidating tasks and then ultimately bigger results. We all gotta start somewhere, so just get started. Okay, we're on number 7 already and I'm just feeling like, this video has been so serious and I just wanted to come on and make it a little bit fun because yeah, that's something that I like to do is make fun videos, and it's not that this is like not good, it is good because we need these things to ultimately have fun without worrying so much, but I needed to come on and just like, hey, give you a little bit of energy to keep this thing moving. And I actually have to switch my camera battery out because it's gonna die soon. But before I do, let's say hi to my kitty behind the scenes. Hey Tiki. This is my production assistant here. She sleeps on the job, but ultimately, I think she's worth keeping around. Up until now, we've gone through a sequential list of steps to success, but now we're gonna switch gears and talk about some really important categories of life that you need to put some effort into, starting with health. If you went to college and ate ramen every night, or you turned to McDonald's for a quick, cheap meal, consider those days of the past. You need to clean up your diet, and you know what I mean. That means vegetables, that means protein, less sugar, and I know maybe it sounds awful for some of you, but just know that it doesn't have to be hard and it doesn't have to be yucky food. I made avocado toast in 5 minutes. I'm gonna show you how to do that if you click the link up here. I'll also link it in the description so you can watch that after this video, but try to find some enjoyment in it. And that goes for working out too. In fact, you may want to stop using the word working out if working sounds bad to you and just use the word exercise since it's neutral. Whatever it is, you need to come up with some sort of regular fitness routine. And not only can that be fun, but I believe that it needs to be fun. Otherwise, you won't stick with it. So as an example, one thing that I learned to do is I learned how to do a hip hop dance. That's an idea for something fun you can do, so go ahead and watch that video here. It's also an example of trying something new, but also I've totally gotten into the kind of situation where if I find something that works that I enjoy, just get into some sort of rhythm and go with it. Fitness is not the only thing that we need to focus on in addition to food. We need to think about hydration. This is something I am currently really making an effort on. I'm trying to get 64 ounces of water a day. I'm doing well on some days, not on others, so I'm totally with you here on this journey. Speaking of which, and then you also need to set a regular sleep schedule. And I know that in our 20s, we tend to think that we can function on very little sleep, and that may be true. Personally, I need to get a lot of sleep. Most nights, I can go a night or two here and there without it, especially if I have a huge motivation for some reason. But generally speaking, I need my sleep, but I know some people really brag about the fact that they don't need sleep, and I guess good for you, but there's something else you should really think about. Even if you can make it work now, There have been studies that show that it affects your longevity. And for those of you who don't know what that means, that literally means how much sleep you get now might have something to do with how many years you live. I'm not saying this to freak you out. I would recommend you go find some articles and studies on it. I'll try to link one down below if I can find one while I'm like doing the rest of the stuff after this video. But yeah, just kind of pay attention to the fact that everything you do contributing to your health physically does have an impact on how long you live, because you gotta sustain this body that you're given. And also everything you do now depends on how well you function physically. If you're tired and you're falling asleep, you're probably not gonna think as well when you're going to study for the GRE or come up with a video idea like this one, you know, or think on the spot. Like, you can tell I'm ad-libbing here. There's too many likes, maybe I will cut some of them out to make your viewing experience better. We will see. Essentially, it affects both your physical state and your mental ability to do things. So work on your health. I know it is hard to do it all at once. I certainly haven't been able to do it all at once. So take one thing at a time and really work on it. Number 9 is relationships. And although this does include romantic relationships, really right now we're just gonna be talking about anyone you have a relation with. So look around at the people in your life and think about who builds you up and makes you feel good when you're around them. And then think about the people who don't. And it may not mean they're bad people, but they may not be a good match for you, even just in friendship. If this is someone that you've known since childhood, it's possible that you've grown up and you've grown apart. And you don't need to ice these people, but especially if it's a longtime friend, just slowly distance and spend less time together. If it is a toxic relationship though, I would recommend that you abruptly separate, and whether that's a confrontational situation or something else, I don't know what it is for you and I don't want to speak out of turn, but whatever you do, however you handle it, make sure that you are kind. Don't let someone else affect the person that you want to be. And then of the people who do positively impact your life, try to recognize what is it about them that you like, so that when you go seek new friendships, you make sure that they have those qualities. And as far as having those relationships, I personally prefer to have just a very tight-knit group of family and friends that really support me. And that doesn't mean a friend group. In fact, I've never really been part of a friend group, but just select few people that I really trust and consider close to me, and then have a larger group of acquaintances. Now, no one likes to be called an acquaintance, so probably a lot of these people you're still gonna call your friends, but just recognize in your own circles, they are a little bit further out. You could compare this to the people that you text versus that you're Facebook friends with. I'm not saying that everyone you text is a close friend. In fact, you probably do text some of your acquaintances depending on how social you are, but you will only text so many people because it is a very time-consuming and one-on-one process, whereas you're probably Facebook friends with many, many more people. At least that's the situation for me. So think of that as sort of the difference between close friends and acquaintances. Again, not saying that those exactly match up for you. You may be close with someone that you don't text with much because maybe you just call, or maybe you just see each other and maybe you text with acquaintances. So I hope you understand what I'm saying. It's just an analogy here. And then I can't leave this topic without mentioning networking, since we are addressing our 20s. So a lot of people are trying to get their careers off the ground, and networking can include those acquaintances we discussed, or it could be professional. Whatever the situation may be, I just want to say in relation to networking and your more casual relationships, give more than you take. This is a big deal for many reasons. We can get into that in another video if you want. For something basic, go ahead and click up here if you want more on how to give to your relationships as a young adult. And with that, we will move on to the next one. We are here, probably when you saw the title of this video about how to set yourself up for success in your 20s, you were probably wondering, how can I make money? Because money is success, right? I mean, it may be part of success for you, but the reason it is number 10 is because the rest of the items on this list were inwardly focused in some way, and finance is outward. So let's talk about the money. Financial goal setting is actually inward, I guess, because it's knowing what you want, but you can argue that's part of the goal setting section, but know what you want. And your first goal, please, is to get rid of debt and stay out of debt. If you have student loans, you need to come up with a plan to pay them off. If you have credit card debt, please figure out how to get rid of it, because it is a ball and chain relationship. And the fact is, people like to say that money doesn't matter, but it does. It is a tool to navigating this world. It is not everything, but it is important to make sure that you're smart about your money. So first, get rid of debt, stay out of debt, and then start saving. There's so much to unpack here, but for now I'm just gonna say that as far as budgeting goes, the biggest game changers for me were going through Financial Peace University and using the Every Dollar app. So I am definitely gonna link those below because they have made such an impact on me. And then set financial goals. It's gonna give you some sort of direction. It's gonna give you motivation when you have to work hard and do extra things that are not necessarily fun, but it's important because it helps you know why you want money. Because truly, and this is a little bit of a tangent, it's kind of off of what I planned for this video, but money is in some ways kind of not worth much. I mean, really, it's these little pieces of cotton linen blends of dead notables on it, just this little old green stuff. It's dirty, it's got germs all over it. Like, what the heck, why would you want that? Well, it's because you don't really want that. You want what that cash can buy you. So know what you want, because also that's gonna help you figure out when you have enough. And I mean, there's a whole lot as far as when you have enough, knowing if you have enough, is enough enough? And actually I have so much more to say on this than I even realized, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut the financial discussion off here to keep this video to somewhat of a reasonable length. I have no idea how long it is at this point, and get into the rest of the video so that we can finish up and I can provide that last bit of information that you really need to go out and make it in this world. Okay, you saw it, you got the 10 tips, but we need to put a little more to this because this is just scratching the surface of the iceberg. I've been working on these things literally for years, since high school. And to give you some idea of that, I started high school in 2011. So that's a really long time. I picked up information from books, articles, blog posts, podcasts, workshops, videos, trainings, email newsletters. Did I say audiobooks already? I mean, and actual people too. Obviously, I can't link all that up in the description, but I will link up for you some of the books I've read that have made a big impact on me and go into some of these topics in greater depth. And if I think of any other resources I can put in there, I will provide that to you as well. This stage of life comes with a whole lot of challenges, and I'm not happy because I don't have them. I definitely have my fair share of challenges. The reason I'm happy is because I've learned how to focus on what's going right and to take action on whatever I can do to fix what's not going right. And admittedly, I don't have full control over all the things that upset me, but I always have full control over how I respond to them. So if you want to improve your life, the next thing you should do is hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you get notified whenever another video comes up on this channel, and then answer this question in the comments. Which of these 10 tips are you gonna apply to your life next? And if you don't have much to say, you can just comment the number of the tip. It's a tall order to try to overhaul your whole life and make so many changes all at once, and plus, you may already be crushing it in some of these areas, so go ahead and just pick 1 or 2 items and really dive deep to improve on those. I am planning to make more videos elaborating on some of the topics we discussed today, so drop a comment if you have a preference on which ones I do next. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys. Still here. Still here. Okay, bye.